Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. I want to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand TV series, you will differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh@5starbdm.com. Now, let's begin with our next episode on the Follow the Brand TV.
Five-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
It was 2:33 in the morning on a Manhattan street when one collision changed everything for Jason Yarusi. In that moment, his only thought was getting back to a job he despised. But that crash became the catalyst for a dramatic transformation. Jason went from being an angry bartender to a real estate mogul, all by asking himself a simple question. What if you stopped being the worker and started owning the system? Jason discovered that through real estate, he could make money work for him instead of against him. With over 30 transactions, a portfolio worth more than $300 million, and properties over 800 miles away, Jason learned that quick results fade if you do not build a strong foundation. He believes the most successful people are those who bring solutions. Are you working in the business or on the business? That's what a true entrepreneur does. Jason's complete transformation story is available now. Listen to the Follow the Brand podcast and TV series on all platforms, and subscribe for more stories of entrepreneurs and career professionals.
Welcome, everybody, to the Follow the Brand podcast. This is Grant McGaugh. I'm down here in Miami, Florida, but we're going to take it all the way up to Tennessee. Now, when I think about Tennessee, you can't help but think about, things like the Grand Ole Opry. You've got, you got the Tennessee Titans up there. You got the home of Elvis. But there's also some other people out there. Jason Yarusi is going to talk to us about his journey, about his passion, about his skill sets, and how he's been doing this at such a high level. He's a multi-millionaire in the real estate realm. He's probably got some other businesses that he does as well, but he teaches other people how they can take what they have, get to a focus area, and drive themselves to a successful outcome. So Jason, you'd like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So thanks for having me. Appreciate you having me here on the show. And yes, I am down here in Tennessee. I live in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, but I was born and raised in New Jersey. So I found myself to Tennessee in a pretty non-traditional route. So born and raised in New Jersey, during my formative years, I had a lot of loss in my life, and it really set me up to just not have, I was always a shy kid. And so I left high school, just not with a lot of confidence, just a lot of my energy was just zapped out of me of just all these things that had just happened. Went to college and ended up getting a finance degree based on, I had a girlfriend at the time, and her mom was like, you're good at math, right? Why don't you do a business degree, right? Just trying to point me in some direction because I was just kind of lost, right? Well, I left college and just didn't want to do anything with finance. And so I ended up moving into New York City, where I spent the better part of a decade living there, just working a bunch of odd jobs, working in restaurants and bars and all these just not really fulfilling things. And I was very unhappy with everything I was doing. I was blaming everybody else. I was blaming, my upbringing, my college, my surrounding, and just everybody's fault but myself, right? I wasn't really leading my life until one night, I was leaving work 2:33 in the morning and got on my bike to ride across the city to head to my apartment, just angry at the world. And out of nowhere, a flash of light came out. And next thing I know, I'm flying in the air because I was hit by a car. And turns out I get pulled out of the street by these kids who were speaking French. I had no idea what they were saying. They were just pulling me out of the street because, Manhattan was coming alive. The light was turning in green. And next thing you know, I'm in an ambulance going to the hospital because I had gotten a broken shoulder. Eventually had a pin in my wrist, some stitches in my face. And, I finally, in a day, leave the hospital. And the only thought in my mind was like, man, I need to get back to this job that I despise because I need to make money for rent. And there was this moment of pause where I was like, okay, let's have a clear thought here. You've just been hit by a car, and all you can think about is that you have to get back to this job. Part of the reason that you are just so unhappy with your life is, working this job. And this is all you can think about getting back to. And so I made a pact with myself, okay, if I'm going to do that, then I have to say I'm okay with the chaos of the results I'm getting and just be fine with it and stop complaining. Or I can start doing something different. And I started to do something different. But the thing was, I just didn't know what that was, right? I'm sure many people listening is that like, I want to change my life, but I don't know how to, right? And that was the big sticking point for me, is I didn't know what I didn't know, right? So I just started to do things different from what I was doing. Instead of staying up late, drinking at the end of the night, I'd start to go back at a reasonable time, start to get up earlier, start to get in a workout pattern, start to read books, just start to do things that started to give me some semblance of positivity in my life. And lo and behold, little steps turned into bigger steps, and it just started to gain some positive momentum. So I went from working behind the bar to owning a bar and a restaurant in New York City. I opened and sold a brewery in New York City. And then lo and behold, about 2010, 2011, Hurricane Sandy happened on the East Coast, decimated the East Coast. And my father he's retired, but he had a small family business that dealt with very intricate construction projects that were detailed towards flooding, right? And so his business overnight went from, 12 calls a month to 1,000 calls a day. So my now wife and my little brother and myself, we moved out to New Jersey, and we started helping Dad grow the family business. And there was a lot of life lessons there, right? We're a bunch of Italians trying to get along, and there were a bunch of of clashing, but at the same part, we were able to take that business and scale that business to a very high level, and eventually getting my father to retire. But lo and behold, throughout this whole process, what kept happening is that I kept being the cog in the wheel. I kept being the thing that was holding everything back, because everything I was doing was very transactional, right? I had to be there working, doing the sales job, working these very detailed construction projects, or even, working at the restaurant or working at the bar. It constantly took me as being part of the process. And if I wanted a day off, there would be no revenue, right? That was the tie I was into. If we didn't work, there was no funds. Well, at the time, my wife was pregnant with our first child, and we just kept looking at ourselves saying, we have no time. If there was 25 hours in a day, we could have used them, right? If there was 8 days in a week, we could have used them. So we just kept searching, like, what is the solution here for us to get back our time, get back our day, get back our life, to be able to choose our life instead of having a life really chosen for us? Mm-hmm. And we came upon real estate. And it's this pretty big blue ocean in the world of real estate. You could be a real estate agent, you could flip homes, you could wholesale homes, you can do Airbnbs. And we started to try it all, right? Just not knowing what was the right fit. And things were going well, but it wasn't hitting the mold, because we still had no time, because we were running the Home Depot, meeting clients, going to meet contractors, right? Doing all this very active work, until one day I heard on a podcast like this, someone who was buying apartment buildings. And that was that light bulb moment that hit me, because I understood that we could go and form a team and help this investment forward by building the right teams, building the right processes that ultimately would keep us from having to do all the day-to-day, coupled that we started investing about, 800 to 900 miles away from where we lived. So we started that in 2016, 2017. We bought a large apartment building in Louisville, Kentucky, while we were living in New Jersey. And then we just started to repeat that process. And slowly but surely, we've done a little over 30 transactions to date, a little over 300 million of real estate, as we've now accumulated a number of apartment complexes down here in the Southeast, where we now moved.
That, I love that, because what I heard there was what I call two origin stories. And what I mean by origin story, and someone alluded to this to me, and I really latched onto it, because I think there are origin stories, there's certain pivots in everyone's life that are pivotal, meaning they're life changing. They could change what you're doing for a decade or more. The fact that, first of all, you got hit by a car. No one wants that, but that happened. But it changed your awareness, it changed your mindset. You started to think outside of the box you were in, and then it got you into the family business. Now, another great, big, giant pivotal point, Hurricane Sandy. Who doesn't remember that? A hurricane hitting New York City. That's something straight out of a comic book, right? However, that happened, and it was devastating, and it's a life-changing event. But it changed your life even more, and then you started like, all right, then this is the pivotal point. And I want people to really understand, especially when they're an entrepreneur, because it happens over and over again. You have to understand the difference between you being a W-2 worker and what a true entrepreneur does. Are you working in the business, or are you working on the business? And I heard you saying this, like you were working in the business. You're working, and if you don't work in the business, there is no business. Well, that is what almost you call like a solopreneur, or something to that effect, that how people are associated. And then we start getting to what a true entrepreneur is. And I read this one book, I'll never forget that. And they talked about how McDonald's franchises started, and that they had a formula and they had a process in place that everybody or everyone, every worker like within McDonald's had a certain standard operating procedure, right? So whether you're on the fries, you're on the front desk, or you're sweeping the floors, everyone had their way of doing it. And the whole point of the manager is, I need to be able to have that as a repeatable process that I can kind of like plug and play certain individuals, so that I'm not the one doing the fries and sweeping the floor, and I'm doing all the work. And you found that through real estate. Say, hey, I've got to free myself up. I can free up some capital. I've got some money. How can I have money work for me instead of against me? That's beautiful. That's beautiful that you found that. And it takes time. Not everybody does, but you were awake, you're aware, you're doing that. Talk to us now. Now you've built the business. You've got 30 transactions. These are multi-million-dollar real estate holdings that you have. What have you learned through that now?
Again, you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes when we try to assume that we know everything, that's where we don't get anywhere, right? Because you always assume that you know the answer, right? And so many times the part about putting good people around me has really helped the business forward, right? And so I was the limitation for the first couple transactions, because it was just my wife and myself, right? And so we would go, be making the connections with the brokers, right, with the bankers, right, also talking to investors, right, to be part of the transaction. And in the meantime, when we brought the deal, then working with the property management company. So again, there's only two of us, and we're trying to do all these different roles together, right? And so what happens is that if I'm underwriting a deal, I'm not talking to brokers. If I'm talking to the banker, then we're not working with the property management company. If my wife's talking to the investors, then we're not sending out the communications, right? Because it was always us as the linchpin in the deal. And that worked until it didn't, right? You could do that for one deal, for two deals. But then we started to have a couple hundred units that we were having as part of our portfolio. we had to look at ourselves really, truly and say, okay, if we want to grow, we need to get out of our own way, because we're trying to hold on to all these things. It's like that part of like, you want to do everything 100% perfect, but if there's 10 things to do and you do only one of them 100% perfect and you did 0% on the other 9, right? Where in fact, as an entrepreneur, you have to understand that you can surround yourself with some great people, and they might be an 88% on one or a 92 on another, right? Trying their hardest, where maybe you could do it 100, but it's not something that needs to be done as 100%. It just needs to be done. And because you were in the way, not letting somebody else do anything, that you held back your own self from being successful because you're trying to have this resemblance of perfection. So we had to make the choice to grow. We had to build a team, right? So we had to bring on, basically select critical people as part of our process. You know, everyone from help from sales to marketing to leasing to asset management that now are part of our team, because what that does is it allows them to do a lot of the day-to-day while we focus on where the company is going. Because that's the biggest piece, is even if we're doing all those pieces, I'm missing the forward look and being able to focus on the future of the company.
You have to choose. You have to choose to set a new path forward for you and everyone around you. You can become that person. You can be the one that sets the stage to change the entire course of history for you, your family, everyone. I had to choose to change the course of my life. Now, it wasn't easy. The road was not straight. But I started to make small decisions each and every day to commit myself to a new life, to commit myself to a new beginning, to become the person that I need to be. Let's do this.
My name is Jason Yarusi. I'm a successful entrepreneur, business owner, and founder of Yarusi Holdings. We own over 300 million of commercial real estate. I've been able to speak on massive stages, been able to run thousands of miles in a year, and meet the love of my life and have a family that I could not be more proud of.
So when you're out there and you're first starting, you can make sure your core message is coming through. Your core self is coming through, because that's what you have to build on. So every time we can think about what we're doing right now and just what's happening here and part of our business, the struggle brings the reward. Because the goal here with life is really to go out there and explore. So I want to stabilize my downside. And there's so many opportunities for you too. If you look at your competition, look what you can either do that's going to align with their focus, or also look at what you can possibly do better. That's really the biggest part, is to be in the know. The more we stop standing on the sidelines and say, we don't know, we're not sure, we're not certain, and we take action to educate.
It doesn't have to mean the same to me to you. You have to find your own path, your own parallel universe of where you want to go.
And for that point, we want passivity, we want generational wealth. And I want to be able to have my day where I can do with my day what I want. And trust me, not every day is perfect. I can't remember one perfect day out there, but every day can be great if we just get up and just set ourselves at the pace. So enjoy it while it's here. I mean, this is the journey. This is where we're all on. The goal is something in front of us, something out there that keeps moving. There's no, oh, I'm at the goal now, I stop.
It's time right now for you to have rapid growth and expansion.
So enjoy it. It's fun. It's engaging. It's always a learning process. So for us, we just keep getting up that next day to keep taking that next action.
What you're doing right now, even if it's small, even if it's just right in the wrong path, you don't see the effect it has now. What it's creating for your future here is being set right now.
That is how you level up. That is how you live 100. That is how you find fundamentals that fit the need to improve yourself, your business, and everyone around you.
But now you're valuable. I like what you said that. That's another big epiphany. I want my audience to truly understand this as they're on their entrepreneurial journey. You start out in that solopreneur mindset, but to truly make that transition to the entrepreneurial mindset, and having financial acumen and understanding how private equity looks at businesses. You need to understand this because when they look at your business, you could be making $1 million or so, but how are you making the $1 million? If they take, Jason out of the equation, is there still $1 million there? Because if there's not, that lowers your valuation. And I know you're in the real estate world, you understand valuation and whatnot, but when you have a team put together and that you have a scaled or scaling business that shows that you've got runway, you've got a backlog, you've got things that are happening, and it's just not dependent on just one or two people. Now that's a business that people will invest in, and you attract those kind of people that you need in your life to grow and expand to that, multi-million dollar to that multi-billion dollar mark that you want to get to. But it is a process. Now you have a community that you're building out called Live 100. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I got back to a lot of people asking me for help, just growing within themselves. Could be just personally, it could be with real estate. And it really had to put me in a big position. I have to go back and look at what I did because I just started doing it. And I started asking myself, like, okay, I went through all these steps. Like, what were these steps I took? And so Live 100 came on 3 foundational blocks, breaking my bad habits so I can build the future I want and then magnify the momentum of the results I'm going to get, right? And it looked on 9 principles, one being self-aware, right? I wasn't showing up. If you get back to how I was showing up, when I got hit by a car before that moment, right? I was showing up in a really negative way, right? I was very critical. I was not, I had a lot of rage, a lot of anger. I wasn't, I felt guilty about not being able to go out there and so I just had all these parts that weren't someone who would be successful, right? Because I was doing things of someone who was just getting the results I was getting, right? So I had to be self-aware of how I was showing up. And then next I had to own it, right? I had to say, okay, fine. That's how you're showing up. That's how you're showing up. You need to own this right now so you can change it. And then after I had to start positioning myself for greatness, right? So position myself for greatness so I could say, the future Jason, what does the future Jason do today? Like, how does he show up today? Like that person who's out there being successful, how would that person show up in a moment? Because today you're showing up as this, that person shows up like that. And when you can choose that, then you can start mastering meaningful habits and rituals that really set you up for success and then just intentionally execute. But along the way, you have to be uncomfortably brave to what's going to happen because as you start to change, right, you're basically washing away the old you because you're changing to the new you or the person that has a success. So you have to be brave to what's going to happen because you might have, people that don't like the new you, right? Because maybe you're going away from a version that they were used to, or maybe you're going to face some challenges, right? You're going to face some setbacks. So you have to be brave to this, to just not stop. Because as this part, there's going to be 50, 100,000 things that are going to try and get in your way, but you have to understand that's part of your growing process. And then as you do that, you have to accelerate your growth as you start building through this so you can have this awe-inspiring rise, right? And that's part of the process of the program is allowing people to understand upon their journey is that their starting line today is where they are. They don't need to be, someone different from where they are. They have everything they need to get started. We just have to choose where their starting line is and what that first step is to take. And when people can take that first step and get the confidence, it allows them to push themselves down the pike to really the goals that they're looking to seek. Because where most get stuck is that they look at the big picture and it's so scary because it's so different, right? So I want to go start a business, make $1 million, start a podcast, right? It's this result of, I start a podcast, I need to have 100,000 listeners by tomorrow, right? And then they're like, oh, I'm just never going to start. I'll never get there. So they just won't even start, right? Well, we start building the foundation to get you on the road to start. Because what I found upon myself is that I've never learned anything by not doing anything, right? So inaction gets you basically no results. We can agree on that. But if you take a step, you're going to learn something. You're either going to learn that it was the absolute wrong way. So, okay, let's stop and turn around and go the other way. Or you take a step and maybe it's kind of off path, but it's on the right way, but it's off path. So now you can be versatile and pivot, or it's on the right way. Okay, take another one, right? But we have to take some action to get feedback so we can react to that feedback to get the results we want.
I love that. And I'm going to pick one word that I liked out of that, what you just stated, and that was accountability. You accepted the situation, You accepted the creator of that situation, and you accepted the idea that you were going to change it. You were accountable. I really like that. The other thing I liked that you stated there's a desired state that you want to get to. And what does that look like? And it could be awe-inspiring. Always use an analogy of getting to the top of the mountain, right? And when you're at the bottom of the mountain, yeah, it looks very, very intimidating. How I'm going to get there. But when you can step back a little bit, even in your own life, let's step back 5 years ago, 10 years ago. What was the mountain then that you had to traverse? And you start to realize that you have traversed some hills and some challenges and some mountains in your own life already. Now, this is a different challenge. It's a different mountain, but you can get there if, again, you have what I call almost a superhero moment. Jason had that superhero moment. So he's like, Grant, what are you talking about? The superhero moment is he had these pivotal changes. And then how did he go into the phone booth and come out on the other side a changed individual? Can you imagine your dad saying like, wow, that ain't the Jason I knew. He came out on the other side of that phone booth changed because he accepted who he was. He was accountable for who he was. But then what was his superpower? Superpower was his mindset. He came out of that phone booth with a completely different mindset than he was before, let's say, when he had that accident some years ago. And because he did that, now he's capable of scaling the mountain. And he's doing that at a high level. And he's showing other people how they can do it. And when you're in service for others, kudos to you for being in service to others. Like, hey, I got out of my own way. I can show you how to get out of your own way if you are accountable for the situation. I want you to tell me more about your business so our audience will truly understand what it is what you do and the big problem that you solve.
So from a real estate perspective, I'll talk to that because that'll be the first one. From a real estate perspective, we simply look for opportunities where housing is not being run well, right? So it's just not a great place to live. And we look to buy the apartment community where it's not either being managed well or the property itself, the physical asset, is not being treated well. And we go and make it a better place to live. Mm-hmm. And when we make it a better place to live, tenants can have a more happier livelihood living in a great place. So they're willing to pay the market rent or what would be approachable for the market, which again creates more cash flow for the property, which entails better returns for our investors. So simply put, we make something a better place to live, which makes happier tenants, which produces more income and produces more cash flow for our investors. For my part with Live 100, it's really a leadership program where you're leading yourself, you're learning to lead yourself. And just talking to what you were talking about before, one of the most fulfilling things is when I come with someone and we're facing this problem, right? And it looks like Mount Everest, right? And we're never going to get past it. And then a month from now, we're so far past it, we don't even remember it. And it's just a speed bump because we're on to our next Mount Everest that's 2 times higher, right? And that's the power of just working on problems and helping people through the program, is that we learn to work on ourselves first. That allows us to be more disciplined, to look at problems for what they are, right? They're a problem that needs a solution. And usually we work on, is this a 5-year problem? Meaning, am I going to remember this 5 years from now? And if it's not, then what's the issue? Let's just get through it, right? If it's something that it's going to be critical and it's going to be a major change in our whole world, fine. Let's work through the process to understand the steps, right? What are the strengths of this? What are the weaknesses of this? How can we use this to our advantage? Or is this something that we need to avoid, right? And typically we just need to work through it, right? Ryan Holiday has the obstacle as the way, and most of us are fearful to look at the obstacle as something that we need to go through, but we grow through it, right? We go through it and we grow through it. And with working with individuals, we help them learn themselves so they're better prepared for when these challenges come. And that's a hard thing, right? Most of ourselves says that, we don't see ourselves for how we truly can be, right? We think of ourselves in a way, whether it's, actually true, or most of not, that we're not, we're, oh, I'm too scared to do this. I'm not confident enough. I can't speak well, right? I'm not intelligent enough to go start a business. I don't know enough to go out there and do sales, right? That we always tell ourselves the answer, right? Without actually giving ourselves the ability to take control and truly find the answer. And when you truly go after it, Yeah, maybe once in a while it's just not right for you, but at least you got rid of it. At least you tried and know. And that's powerful. Then now we know not to do that and we don't have to think about it a decade from now. And or you figure out that you can do it. It just took you putting the effort in.
Got a question for you. First of all, I like everything you have stated. And I really like that character behind you, Bart Simpson. You know, he's been around for a long time. I can't believe the longevity. Is that Bart behind you? Is that who
No,
it
it's
is?
actually my kids come to the office everyone once in a while. I usually see Legos, and so my youngest, my 6-year-old, was building Legos, I guess, and put a Lego statue in here. And I just realized that when we started, I said, I guess it's gonna stay. So, but it looks like Bart Simpson, I guess, when
It
he
does. From
yeah.
behind here, I'm thinking Bart, right? Some people are on audio, some people on video, but it looked like Bart Simpson. The reason I bring that up is because the cartoon's been around for 25 years, even longer. I think it's the longest running show on television still
Hmm.
to date in syndicate. It's an incredible feat. I want to ask you about your personal brand. As you think that there's people that have coaching programs. There are people that have, real estate businesses. But you have a specific real estate and coaching business that you are in. It's the Jason way. What is the secret sauce? What makes you different? What makes you come out of that phone booth as Jason Yarusi, just like the same person I just saw on that Sizzle Reel, which was so awesome. How would you give us your elevator pitch on the personal brand that you carry every day?
Where I find that many others get lost is that we all want quick results, right? I want quick results, but the quick results come and they go because we don't have the foundation built, right? We go, it's like 92% of New Year's resolutions fail. Why? Because yesterday you weren't something and today you say you're going to lose 30 pounds or today you're going to start making 50 sales calls. It's such a different from where you were yesterday and you're not prepared both mentally and physically. So what happens is that even if you get close to result, you burn yourself out because you haven't put in the training, right? You haven't put in the consistency. And so my conversation with people is that, listen, we can get quick results, but it's going to be hard for you to go because you're not mentally prepared. You're not physically prepared. You're not spiritually prepared, financially prepared. You're not ready. But we can get there. You want to get there tomorrow. We can go and get that. But what's the rush? If this is the life you want to live, you want to live 100, you want to make a fulfilling life that you can keep, that you can live forever, then let's build the work. Let's build the foundation so you can have the sustainability to get the life you want. Because like I say, if you're going to, we look at things as the short term as the goal is the end, right? If I made $1 million or I lose 30 pounds, we act like life stops right then. And then the next day happens, right? Because we forget that we have to live the life as that person, right? So if you are going to lose 30 pounds, well, how do I show up when I lose 30 pounds, right? And what we do is we prepare you to be that person because many times people lose that 30 pounds and gain it right back because they don't know how to operate as themselves when they're there. They don't know how to be that person when they're there because they haven't put in the disciplined work to just understand who they need to be to show up as that person who's lost that weight. So we prepare you to be ready for the future you of who you deserve to be one step at a time.
Wait, I'm going to ask you this question. How old were you, or how many years ago was it that you had the accident?
And so that's probably been 14 years because about 2000, it was right before standards, about 2009-ish, give or take.
All right,
Yeah.
so about almost
15 years.
15
Yeah.
years ago. Because what I just heard you say is like you were talking to that person that you were 15 years ago. And look what you have become in that period of time. And look at all those different challenges and experiences and getting married and having children and having businesses and moving and all that has gotten you right here in what you're on the Follow Brand podcast. And you are doing a fantastic job of coaching us all up and letting us know, because we are in this quick fix kind of mental state that everybody, I can just pull up, to wherever I want to get to, and in order to go, give me a number one to go, right?
Yeah.
And then boom, here you go, poof, there it is. No work and you drive off. And it's really not like that. I think every entrepreneur, every successful person you talk to, they started at the bottom of that mountain. And they only came with, the few clothes that they have or what they had with them, but they wanted to ascend to that level. but they had the moxie and the grit. And it's like, okay, you know what? I've been to the bottom, the super bottom, whatever that was. I already know what that is. And if I want more of that, I can just stop now because I already got that, but I don't want that. I'm sick of that. How do I break free and move forward? Man, that's like, you know, it looks very simple when Superman comes out, Clark Kent jumps into that phone booth and he just comes out with that cape. Do you realize when he goes into that phone booth, it's actually about 15 years before he comes back out?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. You know, I find so my 10-year-old, right? He's really into that. He wants to create this a big business. He wants to like create a Mac. He wants to do all these things. He has all these grand ambitions. And I was like, you know, I'm full support. But my rationale to him is that you will get where you want by choosing the biggest problems to solve, and that's going to have the most impact. Because when we look at problems as simply, oh, I have a problem, right? Because most of the world, right, and many people, and I'm sure a lot of listeners have people in their life that are constantly coming to them with problems, right? Because they see everything as a problem. They don't look at the solution for it. And then the ones who are most successful come with the solution, right? You know, who knew that we were going to need Zoom to be able to have this communication here, to be able to do a podcast, right? Like, someone solved that problem, right? You know, video chatting, right? Okay, problem solved, right? Think of anything, the automobile, right? You know, they thought, okay, wait, the automobile, how are we going to need this, right? Or you look at AI, how AI is going to come. People are solving problems in such a fast pace that others are like, oh, this is something insurmountable. I'll never be able to get past it. Well, there's someone on the other side of that saying, well, oh, what a problem. Oh, if a lot of people have this problem, if I can find that solution, how valuable is that going to be? And when we can start looking at that from a point of perspective as an entrepreneur, you say, huh, okay, the problem is right now for my real estate business, right? You cannot build housing fast enough. Over the course of 2020 to 2030, we need 16.5 million homes, and we're only on pace to build about 11 million. So we're short on homes, and no one's building an old home, right? They're only building new homes. But middle America, right, the workforce housing is the area that most people need to be served, right? But they're only building new housing, which is putting even more pressure on the people that are workforce housing. So if I can find apartment communities and make them better places to live, they're going to be targeted at workforce housing. It's going to be something that's constantly in supply or constantly in demand, right? So we look at that as that's our solution to a problem that exists, right? Well, ask yourself in your general vicinity, what are the problems that you're looking at as a problem? Can you just basically change your mindset to say, okay, if that's the problem, what is the solution? Right? And you can do that from everything, like the time in your day, or, you know, the meetings that you're having, or the job that you're having, right? If you're looking at it as a problem, what's the solution? And if you can look at everything from the opposite, sometimes it doesn't provide the result, but it gives you the good argument for whether or not there's a better candidate for what you to do, or you're in the right place. Because sometimes we're actually in the right place. It's just hard. And you're like, man, this is just tough. Okay, well, yeah, because why would it be easy, right? If every day was just 75 and sunny, and it was always sunny out, we wouldn't appreciate it being 75 and sunny.
100%. Talk to somebody in Miami. I definitely appreciate it, but it's not always 75. Sometimes it's 85 and muggy, you know, so it actually changes a lot, but it depends on the environment that you are in. And it's the assignment. And that's what I would ask my audience. Are you accepting the assignment that life has given you? And if you've accepted the assignment, then you have accepted the accountability that this is my assignment. This is what I need to do, and this is how I'm going to achieve my life goal. Now, if you want to hide from that and make excuses and run around, I used to talk to a lot of different people, and they would ask me about, you know, life and life purpose. I said, your purpose is right in front of you. Mm-hmm. You just have to choose to accept it or not. It's almost like that a movie that came out, you know, Mission Impossible. If you decide to accept this mission, right? So you have to accept the mission. And if you accept the mission, then you've got to do that assessment that you did. Do you have the capabilities to accomplish this goal as you are right now? Or are you going to need a coach? Are you going to need somebody? Most likely, anybody that's accomplished anything in life has had some kind of mentor, some type of coach, somebody who's shown them the way, and then they are able to then accomplish their life's purpose. This has been a wonderful conversation with you, Jason. And before I leave you, I want to give you the mic couple things. I want you to tell us what you haven't told us, just in case there's something else on your mind that you definitely want to get across to the audience. And tell us how your experience has been while you've been a guest on the Follow Brand Show.
Yeah, so really enjoyed this. Great questions, great talk track. Super appreciate you having me on. It's been a very fun episode to talk about a lot of things that I don't always get to dive into. So this has been a fantastic conversation. A leaving point is that right now, as you're listening, you do not need something else. You just need to look at yourself where you are and then make the move, right? Because I've heard too many times that well, once I have this or once I have that, right? Or once this happens or that happens, then I'll do this, right? But you're just setting up roadblocks that are just imaginary at the moment, right? If it's that important to make the change, you will find the time, right? It's like if, something happened right now that was critical, right? Whatever, right? I would find the time to go deal with it, right? Because it was a critical part. So you have to look at where you want to go and say, how critical is this? And if it's critical, you're going to find the time, you're going to find the route. And if we can help you, you want to go over and talk with us to see if we can help you as part of your Live 100 journey, we can. But we believe in you, that you have the permission to go out there and seek the life you want. It just takes you, right? It takes you more than anything else.
100%, man. Thanks for leaving us with that great thought, the wisdom, the knowledge, and the journey that you shared. I really appreciate talking to you. I would have never thought, I didn't hear the Jersey accent. Did anybody else hear the Jersey? I didn't hear the Jersey accent. I think he's been down there in Tennessee for a while. So that's been wonderful. Before you leave us, you got to tell us how to get in touch with you.
Sure. Again, appreciate you having me on the show. You can find me at the Live 100 podcast. It's very short, 6 to 8 minute clips, just talking about the feeling of the day, helping you get momentum, helping you live your Live 100 journey. Or if you want to learn about working with us, go over to jasonyarusi.com.
Oh, that's wonderful. And your entire audience, please tune in to all the episodes of Follow the Brand. That is at the number 5. That's 5-star BDM, B for brand, D for development, infomasters.com. This has been wonderful. I can't wait to see you in person, Jason.
Looking forward to it.
You got it.
Man, who's your favorite podcaster? Man, Grant, man. I love Grant's podcast. Well, who's Grant? I'm going to send you the link. I love Grant.
I love the interview. I've done a lot of these, and this is a great one. It's always great to talk to people who know what they're doing, and it's clear you're a great host, and you've done this many times before.
I feel great that we're having this conversation here. Met a new person in business who I previously didn't know.
It was an amazing podcast. Grant is an amazing interviewer. I learned a lot.
Really enjoyed this. Great questions, great talk track. Super appreciate you having me on. It's been a very fun episode to talk about a lot of things that I don't always get to dive into. So this has been a fantastic conversation.
I wouldn't be where I am here today, of course, not on this stage. However, not in my current business projection and my current business model without working with you.
Follow the Brand TV broadcast host, Grant McGaugh, as he visits with top executives and entrepreneurs to find out their secrets of success with their personal brand. Follow the Brand TV broadcast host as he focuses on brand development to build better relationships, bring value to your business, relationships, and career. You will enjoy listening to each episode that is tailored to speak to you directly. If you're looking for this type of clarity in terms of building your brand, you have tuned into the right station. Each episode will help you to shape a conversation in the 5-star BDM network of 20,000 professionals and become a springboard for your corporate engagement and business opportunities. Each guest will frame their story in the areas of personal branding, business development, career development, financial empowerment, and technology innovation. Grant McGaugh explains why he is the CEO and owner of his own professional career. Grant is an accomplished business leader and entrepreneur who wants to give back to individuals to grow their personal brand strategy. Tune in as he weaves his story about new possibilities, while to you exceed expectations. If you love storytelling, this show will make for fun.
Are you searching for a website that truly reflects your mission and vision? The 5-star BDM website services portfolio, led by Grant McGaw, transforms ideas into impactful digital platforms for personal brands, nonprofits, and small businesses. Each project in our portfolio tells a unique story. From JADICC, a infection control expert organization with professional polish, to Ekaba World Community, a dynamic hub for events and memberships, and Pink Lotus Project, empowering women with donation and program features, every site is crafted using our Brave branding framework and mobile-first development. Our portfolio is more than a gallery. It highlights project context, purpose, and measurable outcomes. We demonstrate brand consistency, strategic user experience, and deliver results that build trust and drive engagement. A world-class portfolio proves capability, sets you apart from competitors, and positions you as an authority. It is your most trusted sales tool and reputation asset. Ready for a website that leads with purpose? Book a discovery consultation or request a brand audit today.
The 5-star BDM LinkedIn social selling course can help you stand out and attract the right connections and opportunities. We will help you professionally create your profile, provide personalized recommendations for improvement, and help you create and share engaging content to help you showcase your skills and expertise. Our 5-step course makes connecting with industry experts, finding job opportunities, and building meaningful relationships easy. Social selling can be an effective way for you to generate leads and close deals, but it does have its challenges. Our course will help you solve the problems associated with digital networking. If you need help personalizing your outreach and messaging, which can lead to low response rates and a lack of engagement. If you need help targeting the right prospects, this course is for you. With so much noise on social media, it can be challenging to cut through the clutter and get your message in front of the right people. Our course will personalize your messaging using our targeting tools and research. You can identify and reach the right prospects. We will also show how to deliver high quality, valuable content that attracts and engages prospects and clients. The 5-star BDM LinkedIn social selling course will address these challenges by implementing best practices. As a result, you can improve your social selling efforts and generate better results. Are you looking to improve your LinkedIn profile and reach a wider audience? Social selling is an effective way for you to generate leads and close deals, but it does have its challenges. Some common problems we saw with social selling include lack of visibility. If your profile is not optimized or you're not actively participating in groups or sharing content, it can be difficult to get noticed on LinkedIn. Number 2, lack of personalization. Some businesses struggle with personalizing their outreach and messaging, which can lead to low response rates and a lack of engagement. Also, difficulty targeting the right prospects. It can be difficult to identify and target the right prospects on social media, especially if you don't have access to robust targeting tools. And number 4, outdated content. If your LinkedIn profile or content is not up to date, it can give the impression that you're not actively engaged on the platform or that your skills and experience are not current. And lastly, poor quality content and not leveraging video and picture to convey ideas. To solve these problems, the 5-star BDM LinkedIn Optimization Social Selling Video course will help you focus on personalizing your outreach and messaging to better connect with prospects. In module number 1, the foundation, we will help you create high quality, valuable, profile that will attract and engage. In Module 2, the story, optimizing your LinkedIn profile to make sure it is complete, accurate, and visually appealing. In Module number 3, the experience, using your targeting tools and research to identify and reach out to the right prospects. In Module number 4, engagement, establishing a consistent follow-up process to nurture leads and build relationships over time. And lastly, in number 5, execution. Understand the metrics to help you measure your brand effectiveness. By addressing these challenges and implementing best practices, you will improve your social selling with the 5-star BDM LinkedIn Optimization Social Selling course. Listen to what others have said about 5-star BDM.
Grant, I'll tell you why I'm here, right? I'm here because I love your brand. When we started chatting on LinkedIn, we connected. I checked you out and I go, man, this guy knows what he's talking about.
You were definitely instrumental in helping to shape that knowledge of who I am. Because at first I thought, well, I am an actress. I am a writer. I am a producer. I am a speaker. And so I said, well, I must be a creative communicator. I know that there is a narrative thread here, but you nailed it when you said you are a storyteller. So you brought it all together in this cohesive title.
Sign up today to improve your social selling opportunities.
I am the AI avatar for Grant McGaw, founder of 5-Star BDM. Welcome to your Brave Blueprint Insight of the day. Today's focus is boldness. Boldness is not about being loud. It's about having the clarity to lead and the courage to stand firm in your vision. In the world of branding, it means taking the road less traveled and owning it with conviction. Boldness is the decision to stand for something, even when it's uncomfortable. It's the message that may not appeal to everyone, but speaks directly and powerfully to the audience that matters most. If you've been asking, how do I build more visibility? Understand this, visibility follows boldness, not the other way around. You can't whisper and expect to be heard in a world that rewards conviction. You don't need to be louder. You need to be braver. So here's your challenge. What bold move are you avoiding that could define your brand tomorrow? Boldness isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to lead anyway. This is the AI avatar for Grant McGaw, delivering your brave insight. Your thunder is waiting. Let's make it resonate. Follow the brand.
About a month ago, you've gone through my entire process now, the BRAVE framework. From your lens, your kind of before and after, what was that experience like for you?
It was very, like I said, enlightening, very eye-opening. I learned some my positive sides and some opportunities where I could feel that I can grow and be better. I feel like your program not only gave me the opportunities, but gave me the specifics to the opportunities and a list of what I need to do to get there. So that was very, very helpful for me. There were some things that I wouldn't have known had I not gone through your program. And I feel like it's just going to grow me. It already has. And it's just going to help elevate me to the next level of where I'm supposed to be.
In 1984, Michael Jordan redefined basketball shoes. Today, Grant McGaw is revolutionizing personal branding. Imagine a world where everyone fights to be seen. Grant McGaw ensures you're remembered. Personal branding isn't about being seen, it's about being remembered. Through his company, 5-Star BDM, professionals aren't just building brands, they're creating legacies. Grant's approach transforms how you're valued, not just how you're seen. Consider a healthcare executive who went from unknown to keynote speaker in just 6 months. or a financial firm that doubled client acquisition through strategic positioning. A tech company saw a 75% boost in brand recognition within a year. These are the results of Grant's innovative strategies. Introducing the Brave Brand Blueprint: brand identity, relationships, assets, visibility, execution. This blueprint is the cornerstone of transforming professionals' images. It's not just about change, it's about creating a lasting impact and defining your future. Grant's work is recognized by industry leaders and trusted by professionals worldwide. His results speak for themselves, with accolades from prestigious ceremonies like HIMSS. This isn't just about building a brand. It's about leading your industry and becoming unforgettable. Clients rave about their transformations. Specific testimonials highlight the profound impact of Grant's strategies, showcasing real-world success and satisfaction. These stories are a testament to the power of personal branding. The personal branding revolution isn't coming, it's here. With 5-Star BDM, transform your brand and your future. Visit www.5starbdm.com for more information. Transform your brand. Transform your future. In today's world, everyone has a platform, but few have a voice that truly resonates. Standing out isn't just optional, it's imperative for survival. Through years of guiding industry leaders, I've discovered what truly sets exceptional professionals apart. Today, I'm sharing a framework that's transforming careers and opening doors to unprecedented opportunities. Your digital footprint is more than just a resume. It's your stage for thought leadership. Think of your online presence as a beacon of expertise. Every post, every comment, every share should demonstrate not just what you know, but how you think. Engage with content, speak at conferences, and let your digital authority shine. Forget collecting connections. Focus on cultivating relationships that matter. It's not about how many people you know. It's about the depth and quality of those connections. Engage in meaningful professional interactions, participate in collaborative meetings, and form strategic partnerships that can propel your career forward. Your journey is unique, and your story should be too. Share not just your successes, but your insights. Your audience craves authenticity, not perfection. Create engaging content, watch your engagement metrics rise, and see how your audience reacts to your genuine storytelling. In an era of uncertainty, trust is your greatest currency. Build it through consistency, maintain it through transparency, and grow it through results. Engage in professional interactions, hold client meetings, and celebrate successes to reinforce trust with your audience. The only constant is change. Make it your competitive advantage. Stay ahead by staying curious. Your greatest asset is your ability to adapt and grow. Embrace learning moments, develop new skills, and celebrate achievements as you evolve. These aren't just strategies. They're the building blocks of a legacy that will open doors and shape industries. In 2025's hyper-connected world, your personal brand isn't just what you project. It's the bridge between your potential and your impact. Ready to transform your professional narrative? Visit 5starbdm.com and schedule your strategy session today.
Tune in for our next show or click on our website at www.5starbdm/followthebrandtv. Thank you.